Amara Lewis wasn't what you'd picture when imagining the CEO of a luxury beauty empire. No designer handbags, blazing red stilettos, or private driver waiting at the foot of a shimmering glass building. On an early June morning, she stepped out of a faded 2005 Toyota Corolla, its paint dulled by the passing of years. The engine gave a gentle shudder as it shut off, and she quietly locked the door, a movement so practiced it had become second nature. No glamour followed her, only the stillness of someone who had walked through storms and come out whole. Amara is 38 years old and created Luminaire Beauty, a premium cosmetics brand coveted by celebrities, the wealthy, and even top fashion editors. With annual revenues surpassing $200 million and more than 40 stores nationwide, Luminaire was a household name in the luxury scene. Yet few had ever seen her beyond financial news columns. She didn't grace magazine covers. She didn't crave the spotlight. She preferred to stare reality in the face. To Amara, success didn't come from luck or connections. It came from rejection, from being told no. She was a woman. After all, she was black because she didn't look refined enough. It came from nights working until 3 a.m. in the cramped kitchen of a rented apartment where her first product was hand-blended in a chipped porcelain bowl. The old car she still drove wasn't because of a lack of money. It was a reminder of where she came from. More importantly, it reminded her that everyone deserves respect, regardless of appearance, when they walk into a store. The flagship Luminaire beauty store stood in the heart of Santa Monica, where towering glass panes reflected sunlight and every footstep echoed like the rhythm of refinement. From the outside, the boutique resembled more of an art gallery than a cosmetic shop. Inside, every detail was measured to the millimeter. Soft ivory lights bathed the display shelves in an almost angelic glow. The air was laced with jasmine, amber, and cedarwood. Even the background music seemed chosen note by note to calm the wealthy soul. Amara stepped in. No warm greetings, no delighted glances, just a quick once-over evaluation, classification, and quiet dismissal. Veronica Chase, the store manager, emerged from the back. She embodied the elegance of old money, a cream-colored blazer tailored to precision, a perfectly pinned low bun, and a wristwatch that didn't sparkle but still spoke value. And on her lips, the textbook smile, the kind that never reaches the eyes. "Good morning, may I help you?" Her voice was gentle but carried the cold edge of porcelain. Amara replied calmly, "I'd like to see the Lunar Elegance collection." For a split second, Veronica's eyes narrowed. That line wasn't shown to anyone, only those who met the unspoken criteria: refined, polished, deep pockets, and most crucially, looked the part of a worthy customer. She hesitated. That line is usually reserved for clients with particular needs. "May I ask what the occasion is?" What sounded polite was in truth a blade slicing dignity under a glaze of sophistication. Amara's gaze remained steady. "I'd just like to browse, like any other customer." Veronica smiled faintly, and her eyes had already chilled a few degrees, and in her mind the invisible door had shut, though she kept up the illusion that it remained open. Veronica didn't refuse, but she rarely did so outright. People like her were trained never to reject in ways that could be seen or called out. But the way she slowly retrieved the display case key, as if unlocking a treasure chest for someone unworthy, said everything without a word. Amara stepped closer, her eyes void of expectation, only observation. Each serum bottle and cream jar sat silently beneath the moonlight glow of soft lighting. Yet it wasn't the products that radiated most in that moment. It was the tension between the two women, thin as paper, but ready to tear at the slightest pull. Amara picked up one item, gently turning it beneath the light, then said, "The base here is a little thick. If you added a lighter layer of hyaluronic acid, the texture would feel airier and smoother while retaining moisture." Veronica froze. That wasn't the remark of someone trying things out. It was the voice of someone who understood product formulation from its chemical core. Veronica's expression flattened slightly, but she kept her professional poise. "Oh, do you work in the industry?" Amara gave a soft smile. "I care about quality, especially when it's something I've created." The sentence landed like a scratch across the room's polished surface, but Veronica didn't catch it or wasn't alert enough to understand. At that very moment, the door chime rang. A middle-aged couple stepped inside, the man in an Italian suit, the woman wearing oversized sunglasses and diamond rings on both hands. Veronica transformed. The chilly composure from before melted instantly into a radiant, overflowing smile. "Oh, welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Rothman. It's been too long. Here to find something for your anniversary." She glided past Amara as though their entire interaction had never happened. A tray of champagne was brought out. Velvet seats were drawn into place. And Amara, the woman standing before the collection she helped bring to life, became invisible. No one asked her to leave. But no one truly let her stay either. She stood still, unmoving, showing no anger. She observed as though collecting data, yet, in truth, she was committing to memory every detail of the contempt disguised as courtesy. Veronica's voice rang out lively and warm as she guided the Rothmans through the selections. "This moisturizer is infused with red algae from Japan and is reserved for our most exclusive VIPs. Her tone was syrupy sweet, but it wasn't for everyone. From across the room, another pair of eyes watched. Lena Park, a young sales associate, saw it all. She noticed how Veronica's demeanor switched like a light. She saw Amara left alone in the very space she had built. And even though she didn't know who Amara was, Lena could feel something was wrong. Lena stepped forward gently. "Would you like me to walk you through this product more closely, ma'am? If you need anything at all, just let me know." Her smile wasn't the polished kind. It was real. It carried a rare kindness in a place where human value was often reduced to the numbers on a credit card. Amara turned her eyes, warming slightly. But before she could respond, a voice cut in. "Lena, please check the inventory in the back." Veronica stood nearby, her polite smile now gone. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for Lena to understand. "Do not get involved." Lena bowed and stepped away, but her eyes lingered on Amara, full of conflicted regret. In another corner, the assistant store manager, Jasper Nguyen, had witnessed everything. He remained silent, but his grip tightened around the clipboard in his hands, a quiet signal of pressure mounting within. Marcus Reed, the security guard, had seen it too, not just with his eyes, but with experience. He had worked at many places. He knew what soft power discrimination looked like. All of them, Lena, Jasper, and Marcus, remained quiet, but silence does not always mean agreement. Sometimes silence is the sound of a conscience awakening. Amara remained there. She didn't move. She didn't retreat. Beside her, the Lunar Elegance display case remained open, like a door cracked just wide enough to expose a truth. The place advertised as for every woman was in fact silently deciding who deserved to be served. Based on appearances, she gently placed a serum bottle back on the shelf. Every movement was slow and precise, as if each product were a part of her. And truthfully, they were. She had supervised every formula, every packaging design, every campaign launch. This brand was her blood and her soul. Across the store, Veronica lifted her champagne glass as she introduced products to guests with visible pride. And Amara, the woman who built all of it, was left behind like a nameless, faceless customer. No employee was permitted to approach her. No eye contact was encouraged. Everything was unfolding as if she didn't exist. But that precisely made her presence heavier than any spoken word. She didn't need to raise her voice. Her silence alone made the air shift. People could sense something wasn't right, but no one dared be the first to act. 10 minutes, then 15. Amara remained unmoved, One hand rested gently on the glass counter. Her eyes swept the room, not in search of products, but for something else, the boundary of human conscience. Lena quietly observed from behind the register. Her hands trembled slightly, part fear, part anger. She knew what she wanted to do. But in a system like this, saying the wrong thing could end a job she had struggled to earn. Jasper flipped through the product list on his iPad in a shadowed corner. But his gaze kept drifting to Amara. He didn't know who she was. But he couldn't look away the way she stood, steady, calm, unshakable. Marcus, the security guard, stood near the entrance. He had been trained, be wary of unknown guests. But what he saw now wasn't a threat. It was someone being quietly dismissed. Eventually, Veronica returned. She approached Amara with a smile as thin as plastic wrap. "I apologize for the wait," she said, "but if you're not planning to make a purchase today, we'd prefer to reserve this collection for genuinely interested clients." Her voice was dipped in professionalism. But the message beneath was unmistakable: you don't belong. Amara turned to face her. Her eyes showed no anger, only a deep, unspoken disappointment. "I think I'll wait a bit longer," she replied, her voice a gentle whisper. "Maybe someone here still remembers why this place was built." Veronica gave a tight smile, visibly uneasy, then turned away, leaving Amara once more in a boutique that glittered with luxury, but felt utterly hollow. And then what could no longer be avoided happened. A young woman nearby, dressed in a pearl-colored suit and trying on lipstick, leaned to her friend. "Something weird is going on." Another guest quietly pulled out a phone and began to record. No chaos, no yelling, just an invisible current tension spreading like ink across tissue. No one said it out loud, but everyone felt it. In a space built to display beauty, something ugly had emerged. And the woman standing silently at its center, he was no longer just another customer. A few minutes later, Veronica reappeared, still holding her half-empty champagne glass. Her mask of elegance was cracking. Her smile had vanished. Her eyes flicked nervously around the room, hoping someone else would clean up the mess she had made. But Amara hadn't moved. Yet no one saw her as small anymore. Her tall, composed posture, two hands resting gently on the glass, radiated an authority no one else in the room could match. Veronica tried again, her voice thin and unsure. "Would you still like to continue viewing the collection?" Amara lifted her head. "I didn't come here to browse," she said. "I came here to see." Veronica's brow furrowed. She didn't understand. But Lena, behind the counter, did. She froze. Amara slowly turned, sweeping her gaze across the store from employees to customers, from curious stares to hidden cameras now recording. Then she spoke softly, but resolutely. "I'm Amara Lewis. I'm the founder of Luminaire Beauty, and I'm being disrespected by the very brand I created." The entire room fell silent. Veronica's hand trembled, her glass almost slipped. Her lips parted to speak, but no words came. Jasper jumped to his feet on pure instinct. Marcus, the guard, took a step forward, not under orders, but to stand with what was right. Lena almost broke down into tears. Amara didn't need to raise her voice. She continued. "Each word is clear and heavy like chisel strikes on marble. I don't care how I'm treated. What I care about is how people who aren't me, people with no voice or power, are treated when they walk into this place." Every phone camera was now recording. Every eye was fixed on her. The boutique no longer resembled a store. It had become a stage, not for showcasing beauty, but for exposing the truth. Veronica stammered, I was following store policy." "What policy?" Amara interrupted, her voice raised not out of rage, but so that every word would be heard. "What policy asks guests to prove their finances just because they're wearing a plain shirt instead of carrying Chanel? What policy?" lets you filter clients by their skin color or how they walk into your store. No answer, because there was no such policy. Only prejudice is hidden behind the polish of professional language. She turned to Lena. Do you know why I let myself stand here this long? Lena shook her head, eyes glistening, because I wanted to see if anyone here saw what was happening and had the courage not to look away. She turned toward Jasper, toward Marcus. Neither of them looked down. And you did. That is worth more than anything else in this store. The air thickened. Some staff bowed their heads, some wiped away tears, some began taking off their name tags ashamed. Veronica was frozen. No more pride, no more poise. Only a woman realizes. She had misjudged the one person she should never have misjudged. Amara pulled out her phone. One call, one sentence, get the board on the line. I need an emergency meeting in 10 minutes. She ended the call, turned back, and gave Veronica one final look. You tried to protect the brand's image, but in doing so, you forgot. It's people who are the real face of the brand. Less than 10 minutes after the call, a secure internal notification popped up on Jasper's tablet. Emergency meeting, Luminaire Beauty Board of Directors, connecting. The room was so quiet, you could hear the wall clock ticking. Still standing near the display counter, Veronica looked as if all color had drained from her face. The champagne glass in her hand had gone lukewarm, but she still hadn't figured out where to put it down. Every gaze had shifted no longer to products. Now all eyes were on Amara, the woman who had just peeled back the glimmering surface of an entire brand and laid its value bare on the scales of justice. From the phone, a board member's voice came through Amara. We're listening. Is the situation in Santa Monica truly as serious as you claim? Amara didn't answer right away. Instead, she lifted her phone and slowly panned across the room, capturing customers' staff, their eyes, their phones, and Veronica's twisted expression warped by panic. She didn't need to explain. Reality was the clearest report of all. This is no longer a simple incident. This is a systemic failure. A flagship store of ours has committed discrimination right at the core, where our brand claims to stand on respect and inclusion. Another voice joined in, a woman calm and firm. Legal counsel. Amara, can you confirm who is directly responsible for this? Amara didn't look at Veronica. Instead, she turned to Marcus, the security guard, and asked, would you mind answering that for me? Marcus took one step forward, nodded. I was here from the beginning. Despite no signs of misconduct, store manager Veronica Chase repeatedly questioned Ms. Amara's financial ability. And when Lena, a staff member, attempted to assist, she was told to step away. Jasper added in his voice, low but resolute, I'm the assistant manager here. Everything Marcus just said is accurate, and I apologize for not stepping in sooner. Veronica opened her mouth to speak, but the voice from the board overrode her. Veronica Chase, under Section 4.2 of Luminaire Beauty's Code of Ethics. Any discriminatory behavior will result in immediate termination. We hereby inform you you are fired. Effective immediately. The store went utterly still. Veronica collapsed onto a nearby seat, stammering, I only wanted to protect the brand's image. Amara took a step forward. Her eyes weren't filled with anger, only clarity and resolve. Protecting the brand by excluding the people who don't fit, by replacing standards with prejudice. If this brand cannot embody justice, it does not deserve to exist. Another board member spoke. Given the severity of this incident, the legal department will be pursuing charges against Veronica Chase under California's anti-discrimination law. The charges include discriminatory conduct in a commercial environment, personal defamation, obstruction of service access due to racial or personal bias. Veronica began to cry, but this time no one came to comfort her. Amara turned to Lena. You had courage, and courage deserves opportunity. She turned to Jasper. So did you. Even if it came a little late, you still chose what was right. She reached into her bag and took out an envelope already prepared. She placed it on the counter. I officially appoint Jasper as the new store manager of Luminaire Beauty, Santa Monica. Lena will be the assistant manager. Effective today. They were both stunned. Lena covered her mouth, holding back tears. Jasper gave a solemn nod, like a man entrusted with guarding the spirit of the space itself. Marcus, who had remained silent through the first half of the storm, now stepped forward and extended a hand. It's an honor to stand on the right side. Amara shook his hand firmly. Around them, customers began to clap. Not loudly, but sincerely. A woman who had finished recording uploaded the clip with the caption, "Came to buy skincare, left with a masterclass in leadership I'll never forget." No one left the store the way they entered, not because of a promotion, not because of a gift, but because they had witnessed something rare, a powerful woman choosing silence to reveal truth, choosing confrontation over retreat. She chose to mend what was broken, not with orders, but with her own hands. Amara strolled toward the store entrance. Near the front stood the display shelf. The first thing she had noticed when she arrived was that it was still slightly crooked. A small detail, but not one she let slide. She gently reached out and adjusted the corner. Just a few seconds, but everyone watched, as if that quiet movement was the closing scene of a long, hard-earned chapter. "Perfect," she whispered, not about the shelf, but about the order just restored. Behind her, Jasper and Lena were already discussing staff training schedules. Marcus stood near the door, not alert anymore, but guarding something else, now trust. Customers remained. Some approached Amara not to ask for product recommendations, but to say thank you. Not for beauty, but for the truth. Amara looked around one last time, not to inspect anything, but to remember those who chose to stand with what was right. Then she stepped to the center of the store, where flashy slogans usually hung, and said, "We don't just sell beauty, we create a space where people feel they matter." She paused, then added, "I didn't build Luminaire Beauty just to succeed. I built it so girls who were once dismissed like me because of their skin, their background, their unbranded clothes, could walk into any of our stores and be seen with fairness." She brushed the slender silver bracelet on her wrist, the last gift from her grandmother, the first woman who taught her that self-respect is the only jewelry no one can ever take away. This bracelet has stayed with me through every morning I mixed serum in my kitchen, knocked on store doors, begging for shelf space. It's not expensive, but it reminds me every day real value lies in how we treat others, not in what we wear, not in where we come from. The room remained still, no murmurs, no phones, no one rushed out, because right there under soft lighting and million-dollar skincare, something rare had just happened in modern business. A brand found its heart again. A few hours later, the story spread like wildfire across social media. A 4-minute clip of the climax gained millions of views in one day. News outlets picked it up. Marketing experts called it a textbook case study in company culture and ethical leadership. But Amara didn't care about headlines. She cared about tomorrow. When a girl walks into Luminaire Beauty, whether she's a student on the bus or a CEO in a Bentley, she'll be seen with the same eyes. And so it all began again, from a crooked shelf, now straight. Not with power, not with PR, but with the courage to stay still when the world tries to push you out. Because success isn't about how high you rise, it's about what you protect once you're there. And true beauty always begins with respect.